Alright folks, today we're going to be doing something a little bit differently for starting with our portrait collage. So before we've just opened up an image and then edited it in its, whatever size that image is in. We're going to go to new file today, and you're going to be creating a custom board. So you're going to click on this one right here. And then if we change this to inches, we are going to make it 16 by 24, or you can make it 24 by 16 depending on if you want it longer one way or the other. I actually might swap that because I want to go kind of landscape mode here. So I'm going to go 16 by 24. You can also click on the orientation here. Resolution, if we're working in inches, should be at 72. And then everything else can stay the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create, and it's going to give me this artboard here. And I just pressed enter, which is what brought up my little rule of thirds guidelines here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and open up Bridge. I'm gonna go to my desktop, and then on my desktop, or yours might be in your folder, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my portrait collage folder. And then I'm gonna go ahead and look for just the first thing I wanna put in there is my self-portrait. So I'm gonna go ahead and enter that in here. It's not liking something over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and there we go, just click on that. And then if I bring this photo in, it should open up, and it's about the size of my artboard anyway. Okay, and then I can decide if I want it to be that size. I can also go back and hit T, or the move tool up here, the transform tool, and I can make myself smaller or larger. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to cut out our background here. Now this might be a little bit tricky just because there's like a lot of like dark space. So I'm going to go ahead, hit enter. I'm going to go over here. Now we've talked about a couple of things. You can go to your lasso tool to select. I personally like quick select, and so I'm going to go into here. I'm going to try to grab as much of myself as possible, but just given that there's so much black in the background that kind of seeps onto myself, I don't think that's gonna work. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm gonna go to my lasso tool. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of select roughly around where I'm at, and then I have to go ahead and finish it, so go all the way around. And then from there, and I'm gonna pick a feather here, so I'm gonna change, if I go up here, I'm gonna change my feather to, let's see, let's try 8. And then that's just gonna make the edge where I've selected a little less harsh when I do my layer masks. So then if I go down here, and it looks like my layer mask stuff is missing, maybe it's just my screen, yeah, it's right here. I'm gonna go ahead, hit the layer mask button, which again is the circle inside of the rectangle, and then now I've isolated myself, okay? Now, you can see here, the edge is not completely harsh because we did that 8 pixel feather there, but it still is kind of wonky looking, so I'm gonna make sure that I'm over here in my layer mask, and then I'm going to use my brush tool. And also I'm going to turn that down because it's super big. And then I can just kind of mess with the opacity of this edge. And when I add in other stuff in my backgrounds too, this will change and it won't be so harsh as well, or I can blend it into the background. So it's fine if it kind of is a little bit rougher in the initial stages, but just want to kind of, I don't know, make it a softer edge, okay? And then I'm gonna go back, kind of do some more stuff with that later. For now, it's fine. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and pick the next thing that I want to bring into my composition. I'm gonna go back into Bridge, and the next thing I want to do is this mountain range. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull that into here. Hopefully as I size this up, it doesn't get too ugly looking. And then I'm gonna go ahead and crop this down here, and I'm gonna do the same thing on this. So I'm gonna hit done to place it, And then I'm going to go ahead and grab, could probably use my quick select tool on this one. I'm going to select the mountain range and then everything below it. And that'll be pretty easy on this one. But this is a good one to use for the background because it is going to take up so much space, or actually I should say foreground, because it's going to be in the very front. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a layer mask on that. So if I go there, now there I am kind of peeking out from behind there. I'm going to make this bigger just to make sure there's no gaps or anything. And then now I'm behind the mountain range, which is great. I don't want to be in front of it, but I am going to pull myself up a bit so that I'm not completely covered by it. And then that's where I'm kind of starting to get things going here. So, so far I have myself as part of the mountain range. Maybe I make myself a little bit smaller and more in the middle. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go back to bridge. And now maybe I'm gonna start thinking about a background. So I have two things I thought of for the background. I had my tie-dye picture here. I also had my, where is it? My Suminagashi print. Maybe I have to go back in here and hit done to solidify that. And then maybe I put this in here and I'm gonna put that behind myself. And this one I don't have to crop it all because it's just gonna be like my background. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, see that's nice. It doesn't really like, it's a large size image, so it's not really getting like pixelated in a weird way. So maybe I go ahead and take up some space behind myself here because I have some stuff that I want to add to this side. And then here, maybe I start to think about a background. So if I go to my background and then I go to color, I can kind of pick what the background color is going to be. And I'm gonna do like a light blue because that's my favorite color. And if I go over here, I can just go to my brush, make that, fill that in, and then you can just kind of color in the backgrounds there. And then I'm gonna go over here to my Suminagashi layer, and I am gonna go ahead and turn down the opacity on that. And then I can add a layer mask to that. I'm gonna go back into here and just add that blue. And then I can go to my Suminagashi print. I can add a layer mask to that. And then I can also kind of blend that out as well so that it's more of a soft ombre into the blue background. And then I can also do a blend mode of my Suminagashi print so that it blends into the background even more. And then I'm gonna wanna bring that blue behind it so that there's not kind of these, ooh, that's kind of nice. I like that, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Maybe go back here, add in some more of that blue. And then I'm gonna go back into the Suminagashi print and clean up this so that there's not this line there. Okay. All right, so then there's that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add in some more things. I'm just gonna keep on going until I'm adding all my things together. So I'm gonna go ahead, add in some more stuff, do some more layer mask. You're just cutting things out of the background, and then you're continuing on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some stuff off of camera, and then I'll come back together and I'll show you the final steps. All right, so the very last thing that I'm going to do is, now that I've laid everything out, the biggest things to remember is to use your layer masks and then also to go back in with your brush tool to clean up your edges like I still need to do here. But then you want to go into these layers. Like I want to go ahead and make my portrait of myself a little bit more part of the artwork itself. So I'm going to go into my blend mode and kind of figure out a way to, you know, incorporate myself into the composition itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and find my best option here. And there's so many different options, so just making sure I'm picking something that does put me in as part of the artwork. I'm thinking maybe darker color, and then also I can turn my opacity down a little bit. And then I can go back in and I can clean up the edges around myself like I said I was going to, so that it doesn't stand out as as so different from the rest of the composition. So you're just making a collage of things that you like. Notice that I only used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of my images. I could definitely add more with the amount of space I have here. I think we're gonna aim to use about 10, all right? So again, layer masks, blend modes, and then using your brush tool to clean up the things that you make in the layer mask, all right? All right, folks, so here is my finished portrait collage. You can see that I've kind of added some things, played with some blend modes. If you look over here, you can see my endless amount of layers. So I just wanted to talk about a few things just to sum things up. Notice that almost all of my layers have a layer mask on them. So please just like know that you're going to be utilizing the layer mask tool again, which again is the little is this little rectangle with the circle in the middle. You're going to be using your blend modes, which is this menu up here, and you're going to be utilizing your selection tools, which again is either the lasso tool or you have your option of any of these as well. So I prefer quick select myself, but sometimes that's not always the best option, so you can try these other ones too. So you will be wrapping up your portrait collage today. Make sure that you are incorporated in there. I ended up using about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of my own images, so you can try to kind of ballpark around there as well. And when you're done, as always, just make sure that everything is done, because once you compress all of these files, there's no going back. And then you're going to go ahead, file, export as a JPEG. Go ahead and name this portrait collage, and then you can do your initials, and then just make sure that you save that into your digiphoto folder. Okay, so if I need to go find that for myself, can go here, finds that for myself, and then go ahead and save. Okay, and then you also want to save a PSD, just because this one is so, you know, step intensive. And it's okay if they have the same name, because one is a JPEG, one's a PSD, so it can duplicate. And then I'm gonna go ahead into my digiphoto folder and save that as well. All right, so go ahead, get into these steps yourself. Remember, you're using selection tools, layer masks, and then blend modes, messing with the opacity and all that other stuff. All right, awesome.